I remember when I got married, all my friends were already married. So I was 20, basically 28. The majority of my college friends were married.
Wow.
But you also, did you go to school in Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Ohio.
That'll do it.
They're married. Yeah, they were married. Hey, welcome everybody. We're here with the 811 show. It's me, Ulysses Glenn, better known as Slugger, and my co-host Jason. Oh, it's not Jason.
No.
This is a much better looking version. Air birthday's not August 11th. But we have here Sharifa. It used to be formerly Sharifa Gregory. It's now Sharifa Elon.
Woohoo!
Woo! Congratulations. Yeah. She's married. She married.
She put a ring.
He put a ring on it. Put a ring on it.
Let's see.
Let's see the ring. Okay, all right.
Oh, I can see it way over here.
Whoa. Anzi did well. Go ahead on Anzi. Yes. Okay. All right. Let me give. You gotta give. You gotta give the man his props. Like, you gotta give his props. But but you're deserving of that type of ring.
You are.
So let's get. So you're deserving of that. So on today's show, we're gonna talk about being married, getting married after 50. Basically, is this your first time being married? Are you remarrying? And it's good to have Sharifa because Sharifa just got married.
Yeah.
So, and believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, she is over a certain age. I know it doesn't look like it, but
you
she
can say
is.
she's over 50. You're proud of her over 50.
I'm 50 and proud, sweetheart.
Oh, yeah. She looks great, and we would, and we're very happy for you.
Thank you.
Sharifa and I are in the same bike club along with Jason and Sydney, so we all hang out, and we now have a new member. Anzi is our new bike club member as well.
Yes.
Also, Sharifa is a District Life host as well on DCTV, so I'm sure you guys have seen her around on the show on her show. If you haven't, please tune in to watch her show. So, Sharifa, like we said, you're recently married. Congrats. Me, myself, I'm happily divorced for 7 years. I should have been divorced first. Sydney, also, I do have a girlfriend. Sydney, what is your status?
My status is, hi, Sin here.
Cinnamon.
No, it's Cinnamon. You can call me Sin. I'm happily divorced.
Okay.
However, I would like a boo.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't need another. I like jewelry, but I don't need another ring.
A boo or a maintenance man?
A boo.
Okay. All right. Just have to be clear. All right. So we're going to get into some pretty good topics here. So, all right. So Sharifa, how did you and Anzi meet?
We actually met online.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. One of our resident millennial she met her boo online. That's how Carmen met her boo.
Yeah.
All right. So can we say the site or?
No, let's not say the site.
No.
All right. That's cool. All right.
And the reason why I say that is because I feel like all of the sites have the same thing.
Okay.
In fact, some people are on multiple sites.
Really?
The online dating thing is the same as regular dating.
Okay.
And that 90% of the people that you meet are not going to have good intentions. Or not going to have the intentions that you have. And then it's that 10% that's that playing ground, and it's not per site. It's people.
Okay. I would not. I knew you first that I met Anzi, but as a man, I wouldn't have thought Anzi would be online.
Right.
I was like,
Well, look at both of them. I mean, both of you are very attractive people.
Yeah.
But attractive,
and not just attractive, but like attractive and smart and outgoing and fun. So.
But there's my understanding, because I've never done online dating, but there's a plethora of attractive women. Mm-hmm. It's usually the men, especially in an area like this.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's like, oh, okay. And so I remember when I first met him, so I'm like, oh, that's a great guy. He's outgoing. I see you guys pictures you guys do, all type of sports things. Like you guys are meant for each other.
Travel,
Like it's almost you're like, whoa, this is kind of like So wow, so you guys met online. So who swiped left first? You were like who reached out first?
You know what? That's a story within itself.
Oh wow.
I liked him first.
Okay.
But it was a story because my account had gotten hacked.
Oh wow.
And I woke up the next day after my account getting hacked, and I had like 500 emails, saying that I liked XYZ. And then I learned from that experience that, hey, if you like a guy first, don't wait for him to like you first.
Okay.
Like him first and see what happens.
Yeah, you got to put something out there. If not, because that's the thing. Guys are a little apprehensive at times. So if you're gonna, quality guys tend to be apprehensive at times.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they will. Guys who are always like just up in your face, like you're like,
yeah.
Does that mean they're desperate? They're more desperate, or?
I wouldn't say desperate, but it's kind of when you see guys continuously always going from woman to woman, like they're always in your face. You're like, that's kind of odd, So that's kind of cool that you went after him. That's kind of good. He had to feel kind of good about that. He was like, okay, I got this hot chick coming after me. Of course, I'm going to say yes. He's like, even if she's a little crazy. Okay.
Right. Oh, whatever.
No, I said if you were. No, I'm not saying you are, but you like guy. If a nice looking woman, you're like, okay, let me at least see what it's about. Versus, if you had been unattractive, he's been like,
But can I ask you a question? So, over 50, what I'm finding is the quality and the number of men. I just started getting back on the sites. I kind of do it as a game. I haven't really gone on a date. But do you feel like the quality has diminished even more for people that are within your age group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how do we get around that?
Well, the thing to me, I think this is the perfect age for online dating. And because I can't imagine in my 20s or 30s doing online. I thought you were going out more, you were partying, so you had the chances to meet people within your age group. Once you get late 40s, early 50s, and older, you're kind of in the same groups of people. You're going to you're hanging with the same people. Unless you're going to a work event, you're not really going to.
It's harder to meet someone new.
Yeah.
It's harder to meet someone new, and the people that if you haven't really had a relationship right now, by this point, you're probably not going to have a relationship.
Right.
And then, then comes I just met XYZ last night. Do you know anything about him?
Right.
And then, you put it out on the blast, and the next thing everyone's like, he did this 30 years ago.
He's an ex-murderer. And he just got out of prison.
And you're just like,
bad credit.
But that's
he went out with my girlfriends.
But the thing about dating online, though, is you don't have that check. You don't have anybody to call to say, because every time I go out on a date or I call or I meet somebody, I go on to you go onto Facebook, you see what mutual friends you have, and you're like, call your friend and you ask, because I don't want to. I think that's a big thing. Over 50, I'm not going to waste my time.
No.
Like when I was younger, I may have just hung out with you if you were nice and cute and fun. But if I knew you didn't have potential, now I'm like, I'll be friends with you, but I won't look at you romantically because I don't have time to just, piddly around.
That's interesting. So as a man, you're like, okay, I'll hang out. You kind of know what box this person is in.
Right.
So at least with me, it's like, okay, this wasn't going anywhere. This is just somebody for fun, or this is someone I just hang out with for drinks. But I think sometimes women might close people off or close.
Well,
doors.
you said an interesting word. You said the word box.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so I think the algorithm and the way that we put someone in a box may be a little bit different.
Okay. Yeah.
You mean a man and a woman, or over 50? Oh yeah.
A man and a woman and over 50, all three. so,
you can see, like, because it's possible for people to move from another box to another box. Like, oh, I misinterpreted who you were.
Right.
Or the other thing about being over 50 is that sometimes people go back like, oh, well, we've been friends for 30 years. Maybe we should try dating. I don't think that works. I'm like, that doesn't really, because one, if you've been friends, you know
all their stuff.
Yeah, you know too many things. And it's interesting how you all say how you like, hey, who's this guy we met, whatever. Guys are a little bit more secretive. Because basically you'll find out about the person, especially like with me. When my girl and I first started dating, I didn't do all that, like, who do you know, or ask people. You can, as you go out, you'll see who they know, how they carry themselves, if all of a sudden, because she went to Maryland, so, if all of a sudden the University of Maryland football team comes up like, hey, we all know you. You're like, whoa, wait a minute.
She's a little too friendly with every player.
Right.
And how do you know that?
Like, how do you know the football and basketball team? Okay, all right. This might be our last date. But, so, I mean, do women, like, if your prior life, if you met a guy, or Sid, if you meet a guy, and your female friends say, he's a nice guy, but maybe they're like, oh, he slept with this friend.
See, men always go there.
Yeah. Why is it the sleep thing?
Men keep count, and count is very important to men.
Right.
But women, we kind of assume that if you're over 50, you haven't been a virgin in a long time. You may not even know how to spell virgin. Okay.
And at this age, you don't really care. I'm like, I don't care if you slept with thousands of
people.
people.
You care more about, like, the motion in the ocean. What is he going to do for me in bed?
Oh yeah, right. My mom, who is 84, by the way,
said, your mom still having sex?
Mom, have you seen my mom?
Yeah, I've seen her. I was like,
her mother is fabulous.
Yeah, she's still
my mama's hot.
Oh my God! If I'm 80,
but she said, you need to make sure everything works.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes.
She said that when I was younger.
Yes.
And she said it now.
And so if his count is like 100, then you're like, oh, well,
Wait, is that a lot or a little?
You had whole tendencies.
Wait, I gotta find out. Is 100 a lot or a little?
After 50?
At 50. Now think about 50. Yeah, start
at.
at.
Not.
God, I don't know. I need more time to quantify that.
100 just means.
If you slept with 10 women a year.
Okay.
Say you started at 16.
Right.
You started having sex at 16.
Somebody have a calculator. You slept with 10, so that's 10 women a year.
Okay.
And you start at 16. That's at least 160 women.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those college
days double.
Okay, so we should. Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Not my college.
If you take the college, I think you'd have to take all the way up to like 25.
Yeah, I need to take out from like 18 to like 27.
See, why are we taking out things? The question is it a lot or is it not a lot?
Well,
right. I don't think
because that's the reality of it all.
I don't think it's a lot. I also think you have to look at, like, when we were younger is a lot different than it is now. We didn't have AIDS. We didn't have all the different. I mean, we had sexual diseases, but not to the point of like dying and stuff now.
Well, actually, now people don't die from that. I see those commercials.
Well, yeah, you don't die from AIDS, but I'm just saying
we didn't have Plan B. We didn't have.
No, it was basically at that point. To me, I think is that women weren't able to express themselves as much, be sexually active. I think it was more or less frowned upon. I've never, in my years of dating, I'm never going to ask a woman how many. I just never have.
Well, she'll probably lie to you,
right?
I don't care.
20.
Yeah.
I mean,
3.
I'm you said 3?
Yeah, 3.
If you say a number like 3, I'm be like, you know what? She's not fun.
Okay, but let me ask you, what if she says 5,000?
Oh, Lord.
I'm like, damn. I'm like, okay.
But do you look at her a little differently?
I kind of look at it like throwing a hot dog down the hallway.
Well, okay, 500, not 5,000. 5,000, and you're an escort.
I'm just saying.
That's like throwing a hot dog down the highway at that point, down the hallway.
You like that?
And on that note,
I know. I was like,
we're gonna take a short break. We
man.
gotta pay the bills.
And we gotta figure out what hot dog down the highway means.
Down the hallway.
Hallway. I'm sorry.
Okay, you ever throw if you say you throw a hot dog, it doesn't hit any walls?
No.
Oh, okay. It's a big. Goodbye.
We'll be back. We're back with the 811 crew / 522 crew.
422?
Millennial.
Yes, my birthday.
Wow, 420. Go cinnamon. And we're also joined by our residential millennial, Carmen. Yay! All right, so
all that.
we're coming back. We're talking about marriage after 50. We have Sharifa here, who's from District Life, who recently got married. So we're just kind of going. We have Sid / Cinnamon, who's divorced, such as my
Sin for short.
Sin for short. Then there's
Spicy.
Ulysses, who's happily divorced, and we have Carmen, who she's in a relationship, so
Okay.
she's never been married.
She got a man.
She got a boo.
Carmen got a man. Shantae got a man at home. Carmen got a man at home.
Carmen got a man.
Like Shantae. Shantae got a man at home.
Carmen may not. You know what? Are you really? Because you have an old soul. How do you know that song?
What you mean? Shantae's got a man at home. That song is fantastic.
She does.
I'm the
know
baby
some
in my
Yeah,
family.
you know
She
a
has
lot.
She has older brothers. Remember?
Oh, okay.
How old is your oldest brother?
My oldest brother is 41.
See?
I also have oldest. Yeah. I'm the baby. Like
All right,
I
all right.
am. This is it.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's.
But can we talk about something that you said in the break?
Okay.
So we were talking about, what were we talking about? Janet Jackson.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
we were all
Miss
looking at her
Jackson.
fashion.
Miss Jackson,
is
because I'm nasty. Miss Jackson.
That's why he like her.
Oh, I love Janet.
But we were all talking about, so you expressed how much you loved her, and I said, so if she came and said, hey, yo, let's hang, you would dump your girlfriend?
I'm out. I got chances. It's Janet. There's only once in a lifetime chance.
Listen.
Let me be clear. When they showed Janet's nipple on the Super Bowl, I was happy for that. Like, I've been waiting all these years for
I
this.
reiterate what I said. How are you going to be Michael Jackson's sister and be desperate? Like, what the beep?
Do you think she's dating? She's over 50.
Oh no, she
She's
definitely got
over
smash
50,
buddies.
but
She's just smashing now.
she's Janet Jackson.
But she might. But the thing is, she might be
Like
a little
what?
crazy. She might
Yeah.
She's smashing.
Okay, so let me ask you that question.
I think it runs in the family.
Yeah, I
the
think
whole
she's a
crazy
little-
If you've
thing.
been married more than one time, do people look at you like you're crazy?
If you've been married more than once, I think once you've been married when you're married 2 and 3 times, when they start looking at, this is my third marriage. That's like the first time, because I know for me as a man, women look to say, oh, you have been married. Like if you haven't been married, they look at you like there's something wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a man, like there's something wrong.
Oh, let me just say, especially if you, because I have a friend who was in his late 40s when he got married, and I thought he was gay.
Yeah, even though there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with
There's
it,
nothing
but
wrong with
I
it.
mean,
I
I
learned it
can't
from Seinfeld. You can't say that.
I can't get together with a gay man. This was like
Hey.
as a partner.
So I
for me.
think that's
I don't think gay
in
men
our
would-
generation, because our generation is, I think, the last generation of people that were born, and you're told from
Yeah.
the day you're born, you're going to get married, you're going to
Yeah.
meet this guy one day, and he's going to come with the white horse, you know, the whole pretty
Have
woman
picket,
thing.
right, the picket fence,
and then you're going to
two
have
babies.
kids. And so we grew up believing that's true.
And like for me, like
Whereas this new generation, they're like, they
we'll
don't
have-
even want, they're like,
we'll have kids.
do I
and-
have,
oh,
we don't
yeah,
want
yeah,
kids.
they have kids. Yeah.
And they're like, why do I need to do that? You know, all the married
money.
people I
the
know.
planet is
or-
blowing up, so why do I need to bring anybody else on it?
Right, you know, I'll have a, you know, but like for me, I remember when I got married, all my friends were already married. So I was 20, basically 28. The majority of my college friends were married.
Wow.
But you also, did you go to school in Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're,
Ohio.
That'll do it.
They're married. Yeah, they're like, they were married. I mean, my chapter brothers,
Yeah.
fraternity, all my line brothers were married. I was 28. People are looking at me like, when you get married? I'm like, I'm in D.C. having a blast. I'm like, okay.
Having a good time.
But I still had those Ohio,
yeah.
I had those Ohio roots, and looking back on it, I would say, to me, I don't think men should get married until they're 35.
I agree.
I think it should be unless you
max.
Like you especially if you're someone who went away to college and you're more in a white collar career.
Yeah.
You're still learning yourself as a man. I think people who kind of stay home and stay in their same routine, I think it's a little easier for them.
Yeah.
But as a man, you start, you're making more money, you're doing things, you have opportunities you never had. You're like, oh yeah, I can go to the DR. You're like, going to the DR married is not really.
Well, I used to tell my girls there are 7 steps to having a baby. You have to go to college, graduate, get a job, buy a house, then get married. No, travel the world, get married, have a baby. Now the last ones, travel the world and buy, those can interchange. You can do it with your husband, but you have to buy the house before you get married. You have to have your own before. And those are the. But I have a question for you, because you said something about DC. I have found over 50 DC is very hard. I go home to Michigan. Oh, I'm a hot commodity.
Yeah.
Right.
And here it's like I'm an old fart. So
Hot.
But my question is, if because a lot of our friends are divorced that are
Yeah.
so if you're divorced over 50, do you even want to get, like, I keep thinking these guys don't want to get married again.
I would. I definitely want to get married again. I definitely would want to get married again. I believe in the institution of marriage.
Yeah.
I believe marriage is very hard. It's not just we're married and we just keep going. It's communicate. There's a lot that goes into it. And I think when I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't quite realize a lot of things that go in marriage.
Right.
Whereas at this age, I clearly understand what marriage is about. I understand. I know what I want. What I want out of the marriage. What I want out of a partner. Things like that. But let me ask you this: Is this? So I know this is your second marriage. Is this Anzi's second marriage as well?
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's cool. All right. That's kind. So what was the I guess pivotal point that made you guys go from being boyfriend and girlfriend to getting married?
That is a really good question. I think we both were leery when we first started dating. And when everything started clicking, when you said it earlier, when we found that we had the same activities.
Yeah.
We found that we wanted the same thing out of life. We found that this is actually a good person. When I fell in love with him and he fell in love with me back, and everything was legitimate.
Okay.
When I first got married and when I first divorced my first husband, I had kind of said to myself, Sharifa, this may never happen again. So, and I kind of said, if it does happen again, it has to be to a phenomenal person.
Okay.
And then I actually met a phenomenal person.
Oh,
So
we have our residential millennial Carmen here, who has her ear in the streets. She's in the streets. The streets are calling her.
and the straight.
She helps it. So we have our poll question. And Carmen, what was our poll question?
So we had two. We had two lovely questions.
Okay.
About marriage.
Well, no, imagine that.
Right. Crazy. So we asked the people, if you're over 50, would you get remarried? All right. 57% said yes.
Okay.
But how 43%
3% said no.
Wow.
Remarried. That means they was like, we not gonna do that again. Okay. All right. And then if you're over 50, if you've never been married, would you walk down the aisle? 57% said yeah.
Wow.
43% said no. So it seems like there's a clear divide.
Yeah.
some people just don't.
Ain't gonna do it.
Yeah. I wonder how many were men and women in that.
Yeah,
right, that would be good to see.
That would be nice. That would have been nice.
But there's a lot of women who've been married before who don't want to get married. Like th'll say,
Hello, me.
No,
me.
Even I wasn't like, oh, gotta get married again. I was like, me, it was a little bit different because I felt like I got cheated out of marriage in my first marriage. And so, when I met a phenomenal person, I was like, wow, this is like a real opportunity to have like the real thing, which is what I wanted in the first place.
Right.
And so that kind of changed, that added to the equation. But for you, why?
I think because like you, I'm going to admit it here on national TV.
Ooh, the streets are talking. They're right here.
That I have been married twice. The first one was.
Ooh, so are you the crazy?
That's why I asked the question.
The common denominator.
The third one behind the question.
Two was okay. Third one was.
Elizabeth, no, but I say that because the first one is one of those shall not be named in the same category as yours, and it was just like,
there's no one in the category of mine.
Yeah, mine either. And it was
she's by herself.
So I feel like I was gypped too, and so when the second marriage came, I was like, oh, this is this is different. Right. I like this, and then we had circumstances happen that were outside circumstances, not any cheating, nothing like that.
Okay.
But
so you didn't cheat. Yeah, all right.
He didn't cheat. I didn't cheat.
Okay.
And so I just feel like
just make sure you weren't.
I don't know if I need to do that again. I want to have a mate, but I don't know if I have to actually get married again. I don't know if I have to live with anybody.
That's right, girl.
Legitimate.
That's right, girl.
But you know what? That's funny.
Right.
But I do want to. But look, I do want to boo.
But that's something interesting you said about like living, like being married is one thing, but living with someone is the second part.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because your girlfriend lives in a whole different state, and is that cool?
I kind of, it's not that living in another state. I know I'm a moody person at times, and sometimes I like being by myself. And I have to realize when you're in a relationship, and she gets on me. She's like, you have to, because I guess I'm so used to doing things on my own, and then when I was married, I just still did a lot of things on my own. So it's an adjustment to, I think that's a big adjustment for me. I'm like, wow, this, you're here every day. I'm like, oh wow, okay. So that's something I would have to get used to. I think I even made a comment like, yeah, maybe you can, should live next door. but no, I mean, you just have to learn. And I guess I just realized how much work marriage is. Right. So, it's a different, it's just like, it's a give and take. If there's marriage, you have to live with the person.
Deal with their toothpaste.
Their
toilet seat up. But we found out from Carmen though, from the poll, that 50% either people over 50, it's still split in the middle whether they do or don't again.
So it's an interesting thing. We're gonna take a quick break so we can pay the bills. We'll be back with the 811/522/420 crew. We gotta find out what Carmen's
people don't
birthday
believe
is.
that's my birthday. It really is my birthday.
So and we've never partied. We've got a party on your birthday.
Oh, I have fun on my birthday, dude.
I bet you do. All right, we'll be back. We've lost our residential millennial, but it's just the cool 50-year-olds. But I want to say, Sharifa, we've had a great time talking to you about marriage. You're like our the person
our role model, really.
Role model. Yeah,
you're my role model. Yeah. Over 50 married, fabulous, traveling.
Right, you guys do everything. You guys are both athletic.
Tell me more.
You guys like do it. I mean, no,
Tell
really.
me more.
You guys have to see
FOMO.
Sharifa and Anzi's pictures from their honeymoon. It was fantastic. I felt like.
Oh, maybe we can end the show with some pictures.
Yeah, we got to show some pictures. But we enjoyed you so much. We definitely have to have you back.
Part two
to finish this conversation. I have more questions. People have questions. We have we have questions. Maybe
we do have more questions.
Maybe we'll even have Anzi. We even have Anzi on here. But we're gonna go. So we'll come back. For next week, we actually have another poll question that's gonna come up. So next week, we want to find out how has COVID changed your life, your social life.
Oh my gosh.
I can tell you. like for me, actually, I met these two great young ladies.
Over 50? Over 50 and fabulous?
Over 50. I met them. We're on the same bike club, so I met all of them. I met the two of them. We see during COVID, Sharifa met her boo and got married, so she likes COVID. She's gonna be like, "I bring back COVID."
You know what? I mean, I don't miss COVID for the deaths, but for the silence and the quietness.
I need we should have like a month a year of like when it's, I need
that's
that.
a great
like a month,
idea.
But I think we'll have to talk about this another time because we really do got to go.
Yeah.
But I think that's why we connected so much because we were in each other's spaces and not having all the distractions. But we got to go.
Thank you, Sharifa. Thank you for being a great guest, co-host.
Yes.
You're much better looking than Jason. So
thank you.
We're out. Thank you, everyone.
Let's go, pick your feet up though. Let's go, pick your feet up though.